You are very welcome to day 8 of this Yin Yoga Bedtime Challenge. We're meeting here every day for 30 days to do a Yin Yoga session before bed. This routine will focus on the hips. If you have yoga blocks, you might keep them nearby. You also might grab a cushion or a pillow just in case you do need a little bit more support in these poses. We'll start with dragon pose, so you can bring your yoga blocks up towards the front of your mat if you are using them. We'll make our way to all fours, and then you can step your right foot forward to the outside of your right hand. Your back knee might come back slightly, and then if you are using blocks, you can rest your hands onto your blocks. If you want to go a little bit deeper and if your body is inviting you to go deeper, you can bring your forearms down onto your yoga blocks or down onto the mat. We'll be holding here for 4 minutes. Just taking a few more breaths here in dragon pose if you can. Breathing deeply into whatever sensation you're feeling the loudest. From Dragon Pose, we'll be coming into Sleeping Swan. So you can make your way back to your hands if you're not already there. If you're using yoga blocks, just bring them further to the front of the mat. And then you can start to walk your right foot all the way over to the left side of the mat. Eventually, you can drop that right knee down onto the mat in front of you. And then you can readjust with your back leg, maybe sliding that back knee back if you want to go a little bit deeper. There's no right or wrong for the position of this front leg. If you need to have your right foot way back closer to your hips, that's absolutely fine. We want to try to keep our hips relatively square to the front of the mat. So just check in here, making sure you're not leaning too much over to the left or over to the right. If you feel as though that's happening, you can always place a yoga block in underneath this right hip, or you can have a cushion there either. And then we want to try to keep our weight in our hips as we come down onto the forearms. You might rest your forehead straight onto the mat, or it can rest onto a cushion or a yoga block. We'll stay here for 4 minutes. It's time now to slowly come back up. If you have a block underneath this right hip, you can remove it and then come to sit on your right hip. From here, we're coming into shoelace. So you can keep this right knee bent. If your hips are very tight, you can come into a half shoelace by straightening out your right leg first and then bringing your left foot over to the outside of your right hip. But if you want to come into a full shoelace, you can keep that right knee bent as well. And you can support yourself here by sitting on a yoga block or a cushion. Make sure both of your seat bones are pressing down into whatever you're sitting on and that you're not sitting on your feet. Once you feel settled, we'll just commit to the stillness of shoelace pose, staying here for 4 minutes. You have the option to stay with your spine straight, or you can fold forward by walking your hands away from you and dropping your head down towards that top knee. For the last minute, there's an option to take this into a shoelace twist. So you can sit with your spine straight again, bring your left hand in behind you, straighten out your right arm and hook it to this top knee. Inhale to lengthen your spine and then exhale to slowly rotate towards the left, maybe looking back over your left shoulder. You can make your way back to center and slowly unravel everything, coming to sit whatever way feels most natural on the mat. You might bring the soles of your feet together and just lean forward and just release all of the poses. Now we'll repeat everything on the left side. So when you're ready, you can come back into dragon pose. This time your left foot will be forward. Your back knee determines how deep you go into the pose here. Remember, you're welcome to choose whichever version of dragon works best for you. You can stay here, that's perfect. Or if it doesn't feel as though you're forcing anything, then you could come down onto your forearms. I know that this pose can be one in which stillness is very elusive. It can be quite challenging. Just try your best to resist any fidgeting. And as thoughts approach you, just gently push them back. Focus on the physical sensation you're feeling and focus on your breath. You can slowly transition to sleeping swan now. This time you can support yourself with a cushion or yoga block underneath your left hip if needed. Once you feel settled in the pose, just finding those anchors that will help to keep you grounded, to keep you present. And just remember that it's totally normal to be engaged in thought. Even as I'm practicing here with you, I often find myself lost in thought as well. But the goal is not to clear the mind or empty it of thoughts, because that is a very hard task for us humans. The goal is more to just notice when we are thinking, and then to ask ourselves, do we really need to think about that now? Or can we just be present for another moment? Now you can transition to shoelace pose, slowly coming back up. This time your right knee is on top. Remember, if needed, you can straighten out that left leg. So find your version of shoelace, either with a straight spine or folding forward. We'll stay here for 3 minutes, and then there'll be an option to twist for the last minute. You can twist now by bringing your right arm behind you, left arm hooks to the top knee. Inhale to lengthen and exhale to rotate to the right, maybe looking back behind you. Now you can come back to center. Slowly undo everything. You might take a brief butterfly pose again, leaning forward and keeping the soles of your feet together. If you're ready to come back up, you can do so. Maybe lean back on your hands and do some windshield wipers. If you enjoyed this routine, I'd be really grateful if you can leave this video a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to my channel if you're not already subscribed. If you can stay on your mat for even longer, it's really encouraged that you do that. You can do this 10-minute corpse pose video. I will see you tomorrow for day 9. Until then, take good care of yourself. Good night and goodbye.